Hey friends, it's story time. I'm going to be talking about a recent experience I had with my dog at the veterinarian and some lessons that I learned about behavior medications. I feel like there's definitely a lot of education in here, so we're going to be doing a bit of a story time. If you're interested in watching that, keep going. Alright friends, let's get into it. So some background that you need to know. Max, my dog, just turned 10. And this story really begins in January when I took him for his every 6-month checkup or whatever. And I mentioned to the vet, I was like, I've noticed that he is starting to limp a little bit more. There's more tension in his body when he wakes up. They were like, yeah, that's totally understandable. Give him some daily hips and joints and everything's gonna be well. Sure enough, I started giving him his hip and joint supplements every day and things looked great. A couple of months after that, we took him back in and I said, we're seeing it again. And they said, let's just do some x-rays. We just wanna do a little checkup on him. And I said, okay, cool. Can we give him a sedative to make him feel more comfortable during that process? The reason I wanted to give him a sedative is because I know what's involved in taking x-rays from dogs, particularly with their back and their hips. And I just didn't want Max to have to go through that. I've never put Max through x-rays and I just knew that it's a stressful situation I didn't want to have to go through. So I asked, hey, can we give him a little sedative? Needless to say, they wanted to give him acepromazine. Now, I am not qualified or educated or anything like that for you to take advice from me on acepromazine or any medication for that matter. So I'm not going to tell you that you should or should not use acepromazine. All I'm going to say is for my personal life and my personal dog and my personal opinions, I did not want to give my dog acepromazine. So I said, is there any other medication we can give? And they said, well, we can give him trazodone and acepromazine, but it has to be both. And I said, I really want to know why acepromazine is important. I asked the vet why. I was very clear that I wasn't saying no. I was just asking why. Now, I do think in hindsight, they could tell based off the fact that I was asking questions. They probably hunched that I didn't want to give my dog ACE, but needless to say, they were a little bit sassy with me. In fact, I actually had to call several times to get them to even respond to me. Then once I finally did get them to respond to me, the vet refused to do a phone consult with me or even a real life consult with me. She would only talk to me through her technician. So I only ever was able to ask the technician information and then the technician would go ask the vet. So once I got kind of sick of this phone tag situation, I was like, can I just pay to have a conversation with the vet? I don't care, I'll pay for the 30-minute appointment, whether it's on call or whatever. I was told no. I was told we're either giving your dog acepromazine or we're not doing it at all. So I said, fine, I'll go somewhere else. And that's exactly what I did. But here's where things get dicey. I ended up really needing to do research to find another vet for my dog. And in the time that I was trying to find a new vet and schedule a new vet, my dog actually had an awful episode. By now we're in June, and it actually happened on a day that I was doing a masterclass, and my dog had a really, really awful pain problem. I still don't exactly know what was going on. The only thing I can think of is that it was an arthritis flare-up, but he couldn't walk and he was yelping and it was awful. I mean, it was terrifying. I'd never heard him make that noise ever. But of course I didn't have a vet to go to, so I had to rush him to the emergency vet. By the time they were able to see him, it was midnight. They gave him some temporary medication. All that to say, my butt was kicked into high gear because I'm like, now I really need to find a vet that I like and enjoy and is going to listen to me about my dog and is not going to give my dog acepromazine. So I put my butt into gear. I started looking and I actually ended up finding a new vet that was about 35 minutes away from me through the Fear Free organization. So if you don't know what Fear Free is an organization that namely starts with veterinarians, but it also works with groomers and trainers, and it teaches those professionals on how to interact with sensitive dogs and to handle them safely. So I ended up getting an appointment with a Fear Free veterinarian. First of all, it started off flippin' fabulous because the Fear Free organization, you're never actually in the waiting room or the lobby with any other dogs. They only let in one dog at a time, or one animal at a time for that matter. And as soon as you go in, pretty much immediately they take you to your room where the vet will actually see you. So we immediately took Max back and everything was great. And I was like, oh my gosh, he didn't have to be near anyone. No one was poking and prodding him. It was awesome. The entire experience was just completely different because I have to say that the veterinarian that came in, she was the best vet I have ever met, ever personally. She handled Max with so much kindness and respect and expertise. She knew specific handling techniques that professionals would know, but maybe like a common person wouldn't necessarily know. And I had never seen veterinarians use those techniques with dogs. And before I could even say like, hey, I think my dog needs x-rays, and hey, I really would like him to be sedated for them. Before I could even bring that up, she said it. She said two things. She said, one, I think your dog needs x-rays, and two, I think we should sedate him for it. And then when I asked, okay, what medication do you think? Guess what? She didn't suggest acepromazine. So all that to say, I walked out like literally just like shaking with emotions because I was like, oh my gosh, thank the Lord I have found someone who knows how to support my dog with kindness and love. Here's the moral of this story. One, when your vet tells you you have to give a medication, I really recommend asking why instead of saying just outright no. I would say, why that medication? What is so special about that medication? Next, I would say that if a vet is refusing to have a conversation with you about medication, that's not the vet for you. And three, you need to find veterinarians that are skilled in behavior just as much as they are skilled in physical well-being, right? I think it's okay for a person to be an expert in one because it's impossible for an expert to be, expert in literally everything about dogs. But the two go hand in hand, and you can't say like, I know all the physical welfare of a dog and I know nothing about animal behavior or dog behavior. You can't separate the two. So find a veterinarian. I highly recommend the Fear Free organization. I hope this lesson was helpful to you and that you can implement it, in your lifestyle, in your life with your dog and your veterinarian. If you have any interesting veterinarian stories, I'd love to hear them. You can comment them below and I'll read them. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and I'll see you guys next time.